This is the Drew Hicks Makes Fake Meat video. 375 on the oven. You definitely need vital wheat gluten. I use tofu. You can use, what is that stuff called? I can't remember the name right now. Garbanzo beans if you want instead, but tofu just makes it easy. You can put basically whatever the hell you want in it to make it taste like what you want. I kind of go for like a roast beef kind of taste. And here we go. So, tofu. Put it in the blender. And then I'm putting red pepper in it, like a fistful. Roasted red pepper, a can of chopped up tomatoes, using these fire roasted ones, pretty good. Some garlic, say like probably ends up being, I don't know, a half a cup, maybe a third of a cup, quarter of a cup, I don't know, probably a third of a cup. And then smoked paprika. Just do it. I don't feel like doing it anymore. My measurements are spot on. A little cayenne pepper. You don't want to put too much, but just a little bit. I'm making enough for like 2 big rolls. You'll end up with like probably like 3 pounds worth. So kind of keep that in mind when you're putting seasoning in. So it's like you almost can't do too much seasoning. I'm just doing like some weird random steak seasoning. Just kind of like, before I decide what I want to do, I just kind of think in my head like what do I want it to taste like, and then go through the cupboard and find shit that'll make it taste like what's in my head. And it's just some like weird Memphis style barbecue seasoning. Worcestershire. This stuff does have a little anchovies in it, but you can get vegan kind if you want. I don't really care if I have like 0.02% anchovies in my fake meat. Didn't really bother me. I usually would use a lot more soy sauce, or however you say this, tamari, than I'm using, but this is all I have, so I'm just gonna use what I have. That's actually about what I would use anyways. Okay. I already did this one. Some barbecue sauce, throw it in there. And then some liquid smoke. This stuff may be like about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons worth, about what I did. I just got some Italian seasoning here. Probably, I don't know, like a little handful. I have a pretty big red onion. I used half of it. Throw that in there. I probably should have put that actually in the bottom so it will blend better, but it'll work out. I already did the garlic. I already did this. I already did that. Then throw a little bit of better than bouillon vegetable style veg broth. Don't really need to add water to it because everything, like the tomatoes and stuff I put in there are already pretty watery. So you don't really need to add any more water to it. Might, once I start blending it, add a little bit of water, but it's not really necessary. Normally you would mix this with water, but you don't have to. Let's see. Add a little cumin. Maybe like, I don't know, probably about like a half a tablespoon. And they don't have this too many places, except for in the south that I've seen, but sweet golden mustard. Pretty big fan of this. It's probably like 1/4 of a cup, give or take. And we'll throw in a little bit of this chickpea miso. You don't have to use this. I just got it laying around, so I like to use it. I just use probably a tablespoon of it. And put the lid on the blender, food processor, whatever. If you got a shitty blender, you probably want to put less and do it in 2 different batches. This blender is usually pretty good. Need the pokey thing. Good. See. I forgot to put salt and pepper in here, but it's got plenty of salt from like the miso and the soy sauce and stuff. But I'll still go. I'll throw some pepper in there. And put some more of this smoked paprika in there. You can never put too much smoked paprika. This stuff is a little expensive. Like I said, you can season it with anything you want. The only thing that you absolutely have to have is the Vital Wheat gluten. And you can make fake meat with just Vital Wheat gluten alone if you want to. But this is more for making like fake lunch meat. Okay, so now take the Vital Wheat gluten and put some in the bowl first. Yeah, I don't know. Let's look. That's like maybe half a cup or a cup there. I'm gonna add way more next. It's just I just kind of go off of the consistency I know I need. Just pour some of this in there. I might probably end up with like 3 or 4 logs actually. And like I'll freeze like all of them but one. And they're fine to have them frozen, and then you just pull them out and put them in the fridge when you want them to thaw. Vital Wheat gluten. Here in Charleston it's kind of hard to find, so I have to go to Whole Foods more or less to find it. For some reason, I don't know, grocery stores around here just don't have it. I don't know what it's used for really besides this. I've never used it for anything but this. And stir it up. It's like you kind of want it to be like if you ever made a pizza dough. You kind of want it to almost feel like a pizza dough. Right now it's real crumbly. And get it all mixed up. Let's see. That's pretty close to the consistency that you want it. It's almost more like just like Play-Doh or something. But I'm gonna make this bigger though, because it's small log. And buy plenty of this, because if you don't have enough when you're trying to make it, you're just fucked. You can't do anything about it. If you add regular flour, it just ruins it. Just made bread. Just treat it like that. Just knead it. Right now it's still a little on the moist side, so I'm gonna add a little bit more flour here in a second. But it's pretty close to where I want it. You can make this log any size you want, really, but this is about the size I go for. It's like the size of a really big yam or something. And it's like pretty hefty, you know. It's got some weight to it. It could be whatever shape you want, really, but I find this works best to just have it like to where it's like more or less, like I said, like a big potato. Sometimes I'll make it even bigger than this, but it's about the general size. And then like I said at the very beginning of the video, you have your oven at 375. It's going to be for a total of an hour and a half that you'll bake this thing. And you'll flip it over halfway through. So I always set an alarm for 45 minutes. What you want to do is wrap it in foil. If you have parchment paper, put parchment paper on top of the foil. You don't have to, but you can. Just definitely don't use wax paper. This shit will stick to it and you'll never get it off, and it sucks. You don't have to use parchment paper if you don't want to. If you don't have it, you don't feel like buying it. But I got it, so I use it. And put this guy over here on it. Show you kind of how, like, what it feels like. If you can get an idea from looking at that. Let's put it in here, and this thing will expand. So you don't want to like wrap it up too tight. You want to get it kind of loose in here. Nothing crazy. You know, nothing super loose, but just so it has room to grow in there, because it's gonna get, I don't know, 20% bigger maybe. And then I'll usually wait until I have all of them done, so I put them all in the oven at the same time. 45 minutes. After 45 minutes I take it, I flip it upside down and around. And then after that, pull it out, let it cool. Go ahead and pause the video now, and I'll be back in an hour and a half.